हेलो एवरीवन। आज हम इस वीडियो लेक्चर में जो कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड ओर्स जिससे हमने डिफरेंट मेथड्स ऑफ कॉन्सेंट्रेशन सीखे हैं, बाय दिस different methods of concentration we have removed some of the impurities or unwanted foreign substance from the metal ore. So now we have this metal ore. Now this metal ore is to be converted into metal, that is reduction of these concentrated ores into metals. So हम आज सीखेंगे कि various types से this concentrated ores को कैसे metals में reduce करेंगे. So heading for this topic is discussion is reduction into metals. How these concentrated ores can be reduced to metals. Now for this reduction method, we have to keep some important points that in our mind. The first thing is we have different types of ores. Some of the ores are in oxide form, some of the ores are in carbonate form, some of the ores are in hydroxide form, some of the ores are in sulfide form, some of the ores are in halide form. So we have different ores of different metals. Now all these metal ores before reduction is converted into oxides, and from this oxide we reduce it into metal. So reduction of these metal ores is always carried from oxide. That means first we have to convert into oxide, then into metal by use of reducing agent or by use of different metals. Now the question is, why reduction is always carried from metal oxides? This is purely from thermodynamic point of view. Now thermodynamic condition says for every reduction process, this process should be spontaneous, and for this spontaneous process the free energy change delta G should be negative. So reduction being carried out from oxides, the reason being the thermodynamic parameter, that is delta G factor, is more favorable from reduction from metal oxides. So this is purely thermodynamics. So that means, so these ores are first converted into oxides. So means we have carbonates, hydroxides, sulfides, halides. So these are converted into oxides, metal oxides, and finally these oxides is converted into metal. So now look at this, we are converting these metal oxides into metal. So this, as I told you, this is purely due to favorable delta G, that is free energy change. As we know, for a process, spontaneous process, delta G should be negative. Spontaneous process, delta G should be less than 0 or should be negative. So for this thermodynamic consideration only, the ores are converted into oxide, and finally oxides are converted into metal. Now this conversion of ores into oxides, so the first step during this reduction of into metals is conversion of these ores into oxides. Now this conversion from ores to oxide, this is carried out under two methods. The first is either by calcination and by roasting method. So by use of this calcination or roasting, so the purpose of this calcination or roasting is to convert the ores into oxides, and finally this oxide is to be reduced into metal. So now we have these two terms, that is calcination and roasting. Now let's see what is the meaning of this. Now first let's take up this calcination. So calcination means heating of the metal ores in absence of air. Heating of ores in absence of air means we are heating these metal ores in absence of air so that the ore is converted into oxide. Now this calcination is basically used for carbonates, hydroxides, so basically used for carbonates, hydroxides or hydrates. That means on heating the carbonates and hydroxides or hydrated salts, some carbonates are broken down into oxides and carbon dioxide, and hydroxides on heating undergoes elimination of water and is converted into oxides. So this is what we call as calcination. So calcination, the meaning of calcination is heating of ore in absence of air and basically used for carbonates and hydroxides. So example, look at this. We have, look at this, calcium carbonate. Suppose we have calcium carbonate. So this calcium carbonate on heating changes to calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide gas is released. So similarly, you can look at this dolomite, calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate, which is known as dolomite. So these on heating changes to calcium oxide, magnesium oxide and carbon dioxide gas is released. Similarly, look at this, we can have copper carbonate, copper hydroxide, that is known as malachite green, so these on heating changes to copper oxide plus carbon dioxide gas plus H2 is released. Similarly, look at this, we have this Al2O3 with two water molecules of crystallization. So these on heating gives you Al2O3 plus H2 is released. So this means by this calcination, heating of the ores means carbonates or hydroxides in absence of air, these are converted into oxides and finally these oxides are reduced to metal. So this is the meaning of calcinations. Then we have next, that is roasting. Roasting. So roasting means heating of ores in presence of air. Heating of ores in presence of air. So in case of calcination, we are heating in absence of air, whereas in case of roasting, we are heating the ore with air. Now what is happening is, this roasting is specific, basically used for sulfide ores, basically used for sulfide ores. So when these sulfide ores are heated with oxygen, these sulfide ores are converted to oxides and sulfur dioxide gas is released. So now look at this, we have these sulfide ores. The sulfide ores, like look at this, we have lead sulfide now heating with oxygen from air. When this is converted into lead oxide plus sulfur dioxide gas is released. Take this copper sulfide heating with oxygen. When we have oxide plus sulfur dioxide gas is released. So that means we have these sulfide ores. Again, these sulfide ores on heating with oxygen, this sulfide is converted into sulfur dioxide and metal is converted into metal oxides. So now we have, after this calcination and roasting, we have this converted the ores into the metal oxides. Now we are ready for reduction into metal. Now look at this. All this, whether we are having a roasting process or calcination process, reaction is taking place at high temperature. So when the reaction is taking place at high temperature, the oxides formed either by calcination or by roasting, the oxides are at melt state. That means at fuse state. Now we are going to reduce these oxides, which is already in the melt or fuse state, into metals by use of reducing agent or by use of any other method like electrolytic reduction. Now reduction is always carried out from the mold or the molten state or the fuse state. Again, this is because of thermodynamic parameters, and this reduction from melt oxide into the metal, this is known as smelting process. So the next step is smelting. That means we have these molten oxides and these oxides is to be converted into metal. Process is known as smelting. So again, why reduction is from the molten state? Because in liquid state the entropy factor is increased, means solid is the one having least value of entropy, then we have converted into molten state. So in this molten state entropy factor increases, so delta S becomes positive. If delta S becomes positive, then reaction, this delta G will become more negative and reaction becomes more spontaneous. So this is the reason why we carry out reduction at molten state. So this is first conversion into metal oxides. Now once this metal oxide is formed, now the second step is reduction, that smelting. So smelting is reduction into metals from molten metal oxides. So reduction into metals from molten metal oxides. Now look at this, we are reducing from molten oxide. This is due to increase in entropy factor. So if entropy factor is increased, this delta S becomes more positive. If delta S becomes more positive, then delta G becomes more negative. If delta G becomes more negative, that means reaction is spontaneous. So this is again purely from thermodynamic consideration we carried out oxidation reduction into metal from molten metal oxides, because this will increase entropy factor. The increased entropy factor will be reflected in delta G become more negative. If delta G becomes more negative, reaction becomes much more spontaneous. So to make the reaction spontaneous, we have to carry out reduction from the molten metal oxide, which is known as smelting. Now we have to reduce. So the first method, or which is the most common method used for reduction into metal, is reduction by use of carbon reduction. Carbon reduction means we are going to reduce this metal oxide by use of carbon as a reducing agent. Now let's see reduction by carbon. Now we have this metal oxide. Let's take this. Suppose we have this zinc oxide. Now this zinc oxide is reduced by heating with carbon. When this gives you zinc metal plus carbon monoxide is formed. Now once this carbon monoxide is formed, this carbon monoxide being a very strong reducing agent also acts as a reducing agent in further process. That means this will reduce zinc oxide to again zinc plus carbon dioxide here. So now look at this. Initially we are starting with carbon. After this carbon monoxide is formed. So the carbon monoxide formed in the fourth state again acts as a reducing agent which further reduces zinc oxide into zinc. Similarly, look at this. We can have we have a lead oxide. Now this reacts with carbon. When this gives you lead plus carbon monoxide is formed, and again look at this lead oxide reacts with carbon monoxide. When this gives you lead plus carbon dioxide. Now we can have look at this Fe2O3 reacts with carbon. When this gives you Fe plus monoxide. Again this Fe2O3 combines with carbon monoxide to give you Fe plus carbon dioxide. So we have look at this. These oxides on reaction with carbon, metal oxides are reduced to metal and carbon monoxide is formed, and this carbon monoxide form acts as a further reducing agent. So this is reduction by carbon. Now look at this. This reduction by carbon is not feasible for all metal oxides. Now the most reactive metal oxides like alkali metals and alkaline earth metals cannot be reduced by carbon. So this thing we have to keep in mind. Highly reactive, that means electropositive metals. Highly reactive electropositive metals like the sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, aluminum. That means metals of group 1 and group 2 cannot be reduced. By carbon. So these highly electropositive metals cannot be reduced by carbon. So now look at this. Why? Though carbon is the choice of reducing agent, but these metals, highly electropositive metals of alkali and alkaline earth metal cannot be reduced by carbon. The reason is, look at this. Alkali metals and alkaline earth metals are the strongest reducing agent. First point. Alkali metals and alkaline earth metals, these being the highly electropositive, are the strongest reducing agent. Second point. Even if these metals are reduced by carbon, the reaction is carried out at high temperature, because we are saying it is smelting process. Reaction is at high temperature. So at this high temperature, the metal will further react with carbon to give you carbides. So though metal may be reduced, oxide may be reduced to metal, but that metal at this very high temperature will combine with carbon to give you another substance known as metal carbide. So basically, why? So we have 2 points. Alkali and alkaline earth metals are the strongest reducing agent. In fact, these are very strong reducing agent. तो इसको reduce करने के लिए a much stronger reducing agent is required. The second now look at this. these metals react with carbon at very high temperature. So though we may get metal, but at this very high temperature, this metal may further combine with carbon to give you some other compounds. Now look at this, let's take this. So we starting with calcium oxide. Now calcium oxide, suppose this is reduced with carbon, so this gives you calcium plus carbon monoxide. Now this calcium form at this very high temperature, calcium will further react with carbon to give you calcium carbide. So this, because of this type of reaction, because alkali and alkaline earth metals react with carbon at high temperature to give you carbides. So because of the formation of this, again carbon cannot be used for reduction of these highly electropositive metals of alkali and alkaline earth. So similarly, look at this, suppose we have, look at this Al2O3. Now this may react with carbon. Suppose for this is formed. Now this aluminum will further react with carbon to give you aluminum carbide. So now this aluminum carbide is formed. So we want aluminum or the metal, but this metal at very high temperature again reacts with carbon to give you carbide. So because of this, the highly electropositive metals of alkali and alkaline earth metal cannot be reduced by carbon. So basically this is for less electropositive metals, that is reduced by carbon. So carbon is the choice of reducing agent, because look at this, once carbon is used, carbon monoxide is formed. This carbon monoxide formed gas being a very strong reducing agent, very good reducing agent, which further reduces the metal oxide into metal. So this is reduction by carbon. Now look at this, during this reduction, a very important substance known as flux is added to carry out this reduction process. That means we have concentrated ore. Now this concentrated ore may not be completely free from the impurities, still some gangue particles may be associated. So now to remove these gangue particles which is associated with the ore, we added another substance which is known as flux. So this flux combines with the gangue and is converted into another substance known as slag, that is fusible or easily melted substance, and this slag is not soluble with the molten metal. So if the impurities is acidic, we have to use basic flux. If the impurities is basic, then we have to use acidic flux. So this flux, the role of flux is to remove the impurities gangue associated with the concentrated ore by formation of a fusible substance known as slag. This slag reduces the melting point, increases the conductivity, and is helping removal of the impurities. So let me just write down here. So we have, during this process, now look at this, we have concentrated ore plus a reducing agent Now look at this, we have concentrated ore, we have added reducing agent, plus we have added a substance known as flux. Now after this we get metal plus slag plus volatile gas. So now look at this, we are using flux and we are using the term slags. So now look is let me explain what is flux. So flux is a substance which is used to remove impurities by formation of a fusible substance known as slag. used to remove gangue by formation of a fusible substance known as slag. So now look at this. We have this flux. This flux reacts with gangue and is converted into fusible substance known as slag. So due to the formation of these slags, impurities are removed. Now this slag is a fusible substance, is melted. So this slag is not mixable in the molten metal. Molten metal के साथ ये mix नहीं कर सकते. So this is, now look at this. This flux. This, if suppose the impurities gangue, if gangue is acidic, then the flux has to be basic. If the gangue is basic, then the flux has to be acidic. So depending on the nature of gangue, we have to choose the flux. So this flux helps in removal of the gangue particle associated with the concentrated ore by formation of a substance known as slag. And now there are some other important points regarding this flux. So the first one is this removes the gangues by formation of slag. The second purpose of the flux, to suppose some of the metal oxides are having very high temperature. The of these oxides are very high temperature. Now at this very high temperature, reaction may not be that feasible. So to decrease the melting point, we use some substance that is also known as flux. So the first and the most important reason for using this flux is, second is it also decreases the melting point. So if melting point is decreased, the reaction can be carried out at much reduced temperature or low temperature. Now suppose during this reduction, these oxides, some of the oxides may not be electrically conducting, or their conductivity is very low. So during this electrolytic conduction, we require electric current to be passed through. So there must be some electrical current carrier. These oxides, some of the selective oxides having very low values of conductivity. So to make the electrically conducting, we use this flux also. Increases the electrical conductivity. So along with this removal of gangue by this formation of fusible, it also decreases the melting point, which helps in reduction must reduce temperature. And if suppose electrical condition is required, so if the substance became non-conducting or conductivity very poor, so we add this flux so that the electrical conductivity is increased, and now the electrolysis can be easily carried out. So this is the role of flux. Now let me give you some examples here. Suppose, now look at it, as I told you, this flux may be acidic, basic, depend on nature of the gangue particles. So if suppose the gangue, if suppose this gangue is basic, then we have to use flux which is acidic, and this forms slag. So now example, look at this. Suppose we have gangue. Suppose gangue is basic. Now we require this calcium oxide. Is suppose during the reduction of some metal, this calcium oxide is present as unwanted substance. So we don't require this calcium oxide. So this metal oxide being basic, now we have to use some other flux, and this flux must be silicon dioxide. Now look at this. This is a non-metal oxide, silicon dioxide. So this is acidic. So in this is acting as a flux. So this is gangue. Now when this combines to give you fusible compound that is known as calcium silicate. So this is the slag. This is the flux that is used to remove this impurity calcium oxide, which is basic in nature. Or now look at this, if we have gangue to be acidic, if the gangue is acidic and the flux used to be basic, we have to use basic flux. Now suppose the gangue associated with the concentrated ore is silicon dioxide. Now we have used this silicon dioxide is present as unwanted substance. Then we can use, now look at this, calcium oxide as a flux. So this gives you calcium silicate. Or now look at this, we can also use, look at this, FeO. So metal oxide, again this is basic. So this forms silicate. So these are what we call as removal of impurities by use of flux. So these slags, this is already a molten state. This molten slag does not dissolve with the molten metal, so can be easily removed. And by formation of this, again the melting point may be decreased, or if the electrical conductivity is very poor, the electrical conductivity may be increased. So during this smelting process, reduction of metal oxides into metal, along with this reducing agent, we add this flux. So the main purpose of flux is this way. This is the role of flux that is used in electrolyte in reduction of metal oxides into metal. Now the first one was reduction by carbon. The second method for reduction of this is reduction with aluminum. Reduction with aluminum metal. This reduction with aluminum metal, this is also known as thermite process. Or this is also known as aluminothermite. Or this is also known as Goldsmith thermite process. So now this reduction with aluminum is for those metal oxides whose melting point is very high. So if the melting point of the metal oxide is very high, or then those metal oxides can be reduced with aluminum metal, and the method is known as thermite process, or simply aluminothermite process, or Goldsmith aluminothermite process. Now the basic principle behind this reduction with aluminum is due to the evolution of extremely large amount of energy when aluminum is oxidized to aluminum oxide. So now look, suppose we have this aluminum on reaction with oxygen, this gives you Al2O3. So aluminum is oxidized from 0 to +3. So this oxidation process, some amount of energy is released. So delta H, this is -1675 kilojoule per mole energy is released. So due to this extreme large amount of energy released when aluminum is oxidized to aluminum oxide, this highly metal oxide which is less reactive and melting points are very high, those are easily reduced with aluminum. So this is reduction with aluminum. Let's take this example. Cr2O3. When this Cr2O3 is reduced with aluminum, this is converted into Cr metal, chromium plus Al2O3. So again large amount of energy. So reaction becomes highly exothermic in nature. Now this can also be used for this Mn3O4. This reacts with aluminum when this gives you Mn plus Al2O3. That means these oxides with high melting point can be reduced with aluminum. Process is known as thermite, Goldsmith thermite or aluminothermite. So you have to be very specific why this is reaction is with aluminum is carried out, because of the evolution of large amount of energy when aluminum is oxidized to aluminum oxide, and amount of energy releases 1675 kilojoule per mole, which is such an extremely large amount of energy. So this is reduction with aluminum. Then we have self reduction process. Self or auto reduction. Now self or auto reduction. First of all, this self or auto reduction is basically for sulfide ores of less electropositive metals like copper, mercury, etc. For sulfide ores of less electropositive metals like copper, mercury, lead, etc. For these types of sulfide ores, we use auto or self reduction. So what this means, we heat these sulfide ores under roasting condition. So when the sulfide ores are partially converted into oxides and sulfide, so the sulfide remaining further react with oxide to give you a reduction process. So reaction is very simple here. So suppose look at this, we have mercury oxide. So this mercury sulfide, this mercury sulfide is heated with oxygen. When this is converted into mercury oxide plus sulfur dioxide is removed, sulfur dioxide gas is removed. Now this mercury oxide reacts with unreacted mercury sulfide. This is partial oxidation. When this gives you mercury plus sulfur dioxide gas. So this is what we call as auto reduction. In this, no external reducing agent is added here. There is reduction between the components present in the system without the use of external agent. Similarly, look at this, we can take this copper sulfide on partial oxidation gives you copper oxide and sulfur dioxide gas is released. So this Cu2O reacts with Cu2S when this gives you copper plus sulfur dioxide gas is removed. Similarly, you can look at this. We have lead sulfide, partial oxidation gives you lead oxide plus sulfur dioxide gas. This unreacted sulfide further reacts with lead oxide when this gives you lead plus sulfur dioxide gases. So this is what we mean by partial or auto reduction. So reduction by a process in which no external added reducing agent is added. So basically for sulfide ores of less electropositive metals, so this is partially roasted to give you oxide. This oxide further reacts with unreacted sulfide present when this undergoes internal reduction, that is known as self or auto reduction. So the next method for reduction is electrolytic reduction. Electrolytic reduction. That means this reduction is basically for highly electropositive metals of alkali and alkaline earth metals. So this as I told you, this highly electropositive metals cannot be reduced by carbon, any reducing agent, because these metals are itself the strongest reducing agent. And further, when these are reduced by use of carbon at very high temperature, these elements further combines with carbon to give you carbides. So those highly electropositive metals are to be reduced by use of an electric current in an instrument known as electrolytic cell. So when electric current is passed through this electrolytic cell containing these electrolytes of highly electropositive metal oxides, sorry, highly electropositive metals, metal ions are reduced at cathode. So this is electrolytic reduction. So this is carried out for highly electropositive metals like the sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, aluminum, etc. Second, this electrolytic reduction is carried out in an electrolytic cell by use of current. In this metal ion, this is metal ion, takes up an electron and this is reduced to metal at cathode. So now look at this. Let me give you an example here. Sodium metal is obtained from molten sodium chloride or molten sodium hydroxide. So reduction of sodium metal from molten sodium chloride, this process is known as Downs process, and whereas reduction of sodium ion from molten sodium hydroxide, this is known as Kastner's method. So what is happening, look at this, this on heating changes to sodium ion and Cl minus. Now this sodium ion takes up electron and is reduced to sodium, this is at cathode, and this Cl minus oxidized to give you chlorine gas where level of electron, this is at anode. So now look at this, we are having sodium at cathode. Similarly, look at this, when this in Kastner's method we take this sodium hydroxide, so on heating this sodium hydroxide, this changes to sodium ion and OH minus. Sodium ion takes up an electron, is reduced to sodium metal at cathode, whereas at anode this is oxidized to oxygen plus electron is released. So this is how we obtain the metals by electrolytic reduction. So now look at this, I have covered you some of the aspects of reduction process. Now if you look at this, some method, all these methods cannot be employed for all methods. Some of the methods is specific of some of the metal ores. So depending on the nature of the ore, we have to use these different methods for reduction process. In all this reduction process, we carried out the reaction from metal oxides. Again, this is purely because of thermodynamic condition parameter that is known as free energy factor. So free energy factor becomes more in negative if reduction is carried out from oxides. Second, this reduction is carried out at high temperature, that is from liquid state, molten state, which is known as smelting. Again, this is because of thermodynamic condition. When we convert this solid into liquid, entropy factor increases, so delta S change in entropy becomes more positive. If delta G becomes more positive, delta Z, which is the ultimate criteria deciding factor for the spontaneity of the reaction, becomes more negative and reaction becomes more spontaneous. Now one more example, during the reduction of aluminum oxide into aluminium. So aluminum oxide, again, is a highly electropositive metal. This aluminum oxide is a very poor conductor, and this aluminum oxide reduction reaction requires very high temperature. So this reduction of alumina, Al2, during reduction of alumina to aluminium, we add another substance, this is known as cryolite. So during the reduction of Al2O3 to alumina, we add a substance known as cryolite. This is the cryolite Na3L(F6). So the role of cryolite in this reaction is this alumina, the melting point of alumina is very high. So the first thing that this cryolite does is it decreases the melting point. So since this decreases the melting point, reaction can be carried out at much reduced temperature. Second, this Al2O3 is a very poor conductor. So this Al2O3 being very poor conductor, this cryolite increases the electrical conductivity. So these are the two important roles played by cryolite. So if suppose any other substance is present as its impurity, then also the cryolite can be used to remove them. So now look at this. This is the role of cryolite. So what is the probable reaction taking place is, at cathode we have look at this aluminum combining with 3 electron. When this gives you aluminum, that is at cathode, and what is happening at anode is the probable reaction is we have this F minus oxidized to give you fluorine and electron is reduced. So we have this. So now look at this. There is a reduction of this aluminum from aluminum oxide by use of this cryolite, and this F minus is coming from this cryolite. So this is the probable reaction that is being taking place.